every democratic nation is providing and guarantees this kind of liberty to the individuals by their own constitutions, like what even in our Indian constitution also providing different types of rights, like fundamental rights. Or in fundamental rights we are providing six various types of freedoms also. Laterally we will discuss about it. Now we have to know the meaning of the liberty. Liberty means such a concept, everybody knows it, like everybody wants freedom from even from family onwards. uh, Today's topic, concept of liberty, second chapter, I think. So liberty means, actually the concept of liberty is came from the Latin word named liber. Liber means liber. Liber means free or independent. Like liberty, concept of liberty, topic name is. So you will get this kind of objective bits in your examination pattern. What is meaning of liber or like liberty is derived from which Latin word? Like that, you will get questions in your examination. So uh, the meaning of the liberty is, in very few persons know the real meaning of this concept. As per our political scientist J.S. Mill, in his famous essay on liberty, he says that an individual is sovereign over his body and mind. Means physically and mentally, he is the whole and soul over his body. He has to control himself only. There is no restrictions over his body. Like there is no restrictions from others or other persons, other institutions, or by the state. So every individual or every person needs to enjoy his life as his wish. So a common man thinks that liberty means no restraint. Restraint means restrictions. So everyone wants without restrictions, needs to enjoy his life. So, but in this meaning, this is not correct, because in civilized society, there are several restrictions will be there by the state to maintain law and order or in peaceful manner. In civil society, every nation, every government is imposing some types of restrictions over the individuals, because if there is no restrictions, everyone will focus on others lives, like that. There is no privacy. If there is restrictions, everyone leads his private life, or he will enjoy his private life. So the word liberty is derived from the Latin word which we already discussed, liber. Liber means absence of restraints, means without restrictions. So, if we accept this meaning of liberty, then man is free from do whatever he wants to do. But this is the negative aspect of liberty, because there no one should distract, or no one should disturb from his freedom. So that's what state is imposing some kind of restrictions in normal days, and also this imposing some kinds of restrictions in during the emergency time, means internal or external emergency time. So liberty is possible only with restrictions. So, according to McKinney, freedom is not the absence of all restraints, rather, the substitution of rational for the irrational one. So, that's what for all the rights which are considered fundamental for the development of the personality of the individual, the right to liberty or freedom happens to be most respected and valued. In fact, without liberty or without freedom, uh, without the freedom to enjoy one's rights, or there can be no real right available to the people. Liberty, as such, is the most cherished and loved right of the people. So, liberty is usually uh, 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 adapted and imposed by the state's administrations. So that's what liberty means. Everyone wants to enjoy his life. So there is no restrictions and everyone is eager to enjoy his own freedom. So to which he is entitled to, there is no way of getting out of this dilemma. And remembering this, perhaps liberty is really a complex notion. It has the capacity to unite men, and in the same time, it divides or disunits them. So, clash of interest is the cause of disunity. So, unity needs to be maintain this type of freedom. So everyone is entitled to enjoy his own liberty from his personal or from the state. So, but this distinction does not always hold good. For example, we call national liberation movement, and in sometimes even if we call liberty and freedom are synonyms, like if we call our Indian independence movement, we will call like freedom movement, not liberty movement. So, in usual words, everyone says liberty as freedom only. That's what in political science. However, these terms liberty and freedom are interchangeable, used in the general sense. So, or in the general practice. So, similarly, in recent years, we witnessed the emergence of another word which is variation of liberty. It is liberation. So today the words liberation movement are very often used. So there is a larger number of definitions of liberty or freedom are there in our day-to-day speech or conversations. We use the term to mean absence of constraints or limitations or obstacles or restrictions. So when we find that an individual is free to do as he likes, it will be assumed that he is free, that is, he has liberty. So, according to Professor Harold Lasky, says that is well known and oftenly quoted that by liberty, I mean the eager maintenance of the atmosphere in which men have the opportunity to be their best selves. So, in this scenario, every individual is entitled to get freedom from the nation. So, like that, government should not control individuals' liberty. Government is definitely control over everyone's actions and reactions in the society, but in individual liberty or individual freedom, the government should not enter into the individual's liberty. So freedom also means the scope of select the required alternative from a number of alternatives. If this scope or opportunity is not available to the individual, that will mean the absence of freedom. So hence the liberty is an atmosphere when individuals will face a number of choices. They will pick up one or more according to their requirement. So if we discuss about nature of liberty, after throughout the study of political scientists have found out several features of liberty or freedom. So if we note few of them, freedom to do means the freedom to choose among the alternatives, which gain means the freedom of conscience. So this is an important characteristic of liberty. Whenever an individual intends to do something, he is supposed to be or guided by his conscience. So the conscience is the force that guides the individual. But Raphael is a political scientist, says that conscience is not always the force that guides the individual for action. There may be other forces. So according to Harold J. Lasky calls, liberty is an atmosphere in in the atmosphere, an individual will be permitted to perform such as activities that will facilitate the development of the best qualities of man possesses. We can say that freedom is a material condition of social life. So here, freedom is understand as a voluntary and uncoerced action. Behind every action, there shall exist spontaneity. So when man is forced to a work, so as per syllabus, we have to discuss about the different types of liberty or kinds of liberty, but we have to know about the futures of liberty. That's what I am discussing about the futures of liberty. So liberty in the state, that is a legal liberty. It is always relative and regulative. There are many conflicts among liberties also there, because every state is different from each other. That's what every nation is providing different types of liberties to their people. So that's what we have to discuss about the basic features of liberty. So liberty is possible only in civil society and not a state of nature or not a state of jungle. So liberty means the presence of adequate opportunities for all as can enable them to use their rights. So rights also provided by the state or provided by the constitution of every nation. That's what law is a essential conditions of liberty. So without law, there is no control over individuals' freedom or individual rights. That's what every nation, after getting after after establishment of their own constitutions, they made a law for the purpose of protection of individual liberties and individual rights. So law maintains conditions essential for the enjoyment of liberty or enjoyment of freedom by all the people of the state. So originally the judiciary and the constitution is the main guarantee and the important institution for the protection of individual rights and individual liberties. So liberty is most fundamental of all rights. So if we discuss about safeguards of liberty, if liberty is most precious thing for an individual and effective steps to needed for the its safeguarding from the time immemorial, there is a differences between the authority of the state and also liberty of the people. That's what Professor Lasky points out certain steps to safeguarding liberty about everyone needs proper education and liberty should be uh, maintained by the state, and also there should be eternal vigilance and also grant of equal rights for all by the constitution or the state. So every state is maintaining its in own democratic way. Both liberty and democracy are supplementary to each other, and establishment of a democratic system is an essential safeguard of liberty. If we discuss about French revolutions or American independence, even Indian independence movement, we all are fought against to get independence from the colonial rulers. So that's what French Revolution's motto is equal liberty, equality, and fraternity, which is done in 1789. In French Revolution, they fought against their individual liberty and equality and fraternity. After that, in 1776, American independence movement also done for the purpose of individual liberty and personal liberty. So in Indian independence movement also we all know about it. We need independent state and also independent administration for from the our side leaders. So that's what we fought against the Britishers to get independence from the Britishers. After getting independence only, we have built a strong constitution and providing several individual freedoms and fundamental rights, fundamental duties, and directive principles of state policy to provide better life for the people who are living in India. So that's what even we are having under fundamental rights in Article 19 says that there are six types of different freedoms are there for providing better opportunities to the people who are living in India. If we discuss about that six freedoms, there are number one is freedom of speech and expression is also one of the personal freedom, and freedom of assemble peacefully and without arms. So there is a freedom to assemble in a meeting or any conference, etc., without arms. So there should not be violence. They should. There will be chances to assemble. There is chance to conduct a meeting in peaceful manner. So and also to form associations or unions or cooperative society. Every Indian is right to form association or organization or any union, like even we are having employee unions, student organizations, political organizations. So like that, there is a freedom from the constitutions to form this kind of organizations, and also there is a freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India. Everyone can roam in India without any restrictions. There is checkposts will be there, but there is no restrictions to roam in entire India. So they can move. Everyone can move freely throughout India. So there is a freedom guaranteed by the Constitution of India, and also everyone has right to reside or settle in any part of the territory of India. If you want to live in Hyderabad, you can build a house, you can buy a house, you can live here. If you want to live in Bangalore or Mumbai or Delhi, anything else, there is freedom of to reside or to build a house and to make his life there only. So like that, in entire territory of India, everyone needs to reside anywhere in India. So, and also there is a practice any profession. Everyone has right to practice any profession, and also to carry or any occupation or trade or business. So these six types of freedoms are guaranteed by the Indian Constitution. So if we discuss about kinds of liberty in our syllabus, we have three kinds of liberty is there. So number one is civil liberty, that is also called as personal or social liberty. If we discuss about this, uh, civil liberty means there are guaranteed in every democratic nation. So as we discussed, after getting independence, after getting constitution for every state, state is the main guarantor of providing such civil liberties to the people who are living in their country. So that's what in our topic, civil liberty, everyone needs civil liberty guaranteed by the state or constitution of India. If we discuss about this thing, like our political thinkers, J.S. Mill and Isa Berlin says that there is different types of liberties are there, like there is positive liberty and there is negative liberty. We will discuss about it later. If we discuss about this kind of civil liberty is important for the every individual who are residing in the country. Means in civil society, everyone needs civil liberties. So if we discuss about this civil liberty, it is guaranteed by the state. Means every state or every nation's government should provide civil liberties to the people. If we discuss about this thing, civil liberties may be different from the every nation. So if we discuss about civil liberty, consists of three things like physical freedom, which includes freedom of movement, and intellectual freedom, which includes freedom of thought, and practical freedom, which means freedom of choice in daily life. So civil liberty should be protected against the other individuals and government. We already discussed about in chapter starting time. The government should provide basic uh, freedom to the people of who are living in the country. That's what every government and every state is the main guarantee of to provide this kind of freedom to the people who are living in their country. So if we discuss about this civil liberty, J.S. Mill says that every individual, whether he belongs to the majority or to the country, means every individual or every group of people is entitled to get civil liberties from the state. As we discussed in India, Indian Constitution is providing fundament in the name of fundamental rights. We are having from Article 12 to 35. We are having fundamental rights. 6 types of fundamental rights are there. The main aim of these fundamental rights is for better life to the individuals who are living in the country. So that's what the judiciary, in the form of Supreme Court and High Court, the two uh, higher agencies are the protecting these fundamental rights. If state or if government or if any individual person violating or misusing this kind of fundamental rights, or every or individual persons are losing their fundamental rights by their institutions or individuals, the Supreme Court and High Court will enter into the protection of these freedoms. Freedoms means rights. So the Supreme Court and High Court has a special right to protect individual liberties and individual rights. That's what we are having under Article 32. 5 types of writs are there, like habeas corpus, mandamus, certiorari, prohibition, and quo warranto. Like that, these 5 types of writs are there for the protection of fundamental rights of the individuals who are living in the country. So in India, everyone is enjoying their basic liberties and basic freedoms from the state. So that's what Supreme Court and High Court is the main guarantee for the protection of individual rights and freedoms. If governments neglect these kind of fundamental rights, or in providing basic amenities or basic needs to the people, the courts will restrict the government in both ways, in state or central. So like that, the main cause of the protection of these civil liberties from the constitutions, every man gets, being a member of a society, that's what civil liberties needs to be protected by the state. So if we discuss about as per according to Gettil, civil liberty consists of rights and privileges which his state creates and protects for its subjects. As we discussed, for example, in India, the Constitution of India is the main provider for these such kind of liberties to the individuals. So if we discuss about civil liberty, includes personal liberty, religious liberty, liberty to express thoughts and views, and liberty to get together, etc. Like what we are in fundamental rights of Indian Constitution, we are having right to equality, right to protect our freedom of speech, and right to freedom, right to religion means everyone can uh, adopt a religion or change religion or leave religion. So there is freedom of religion is there. Like every state there is no restrictions over this kind of liberties or freedoms. So if we discuss about Indian context, India is a secular country. So that's what, as per the Constitution of India, a state should not encourage or should not discriminate any religion. So there is a freedom of religion, and also government or state like India is supporting all the religions. So there is no partiality. But uh, in the sense of Constitution of India, all religions are equal according to the Constitution of India. Like that, every individual is right to adopt religion or right to get all these fundamental rights together. So if we discuss in detailed, the civil liberty will divided into two different aspects, like not to create obstacle in the way of others in the process of enjoying liberty. State protects man liberty from other men and organizations. As we discussed, state is the main protector of civil liberty. We should remember this thing. Security against the government to the human beings. So states should provide security against the government to the human beings. That's what we are having independent judiciary system in India. That system is protecting individual rights and fundamental rights or individual freedoms which is provided by the Constitution of India. If government neglects or if any individual neglect this kind of liberties, the courts will enter and protect the fundamental rights and this kind of civil liberties. So according to Lasky, liberty is never real unless the government can be called to account, and it should always be called to account when it invade rights. So civil liberty depends upon the capacity and form of the state, and so it is not uniform in all the states. As we discussed, every state is different from each other. Every state is having different kinds of constitutions altogether. Every nation is having independent constitution. We are, if we take an example of Indian constitution, we are brought many things from the other constitutions over the world, and which are suitable to the Indian continent, Indian context. We are borrowed from many things from the many constitutions across the world. So that's what, if we take an example, we bought from independent judiciary system from USA, parliamentary system from Britain, like fundamental rights from the USA, fundamental duties from the USSR, Russia, or directive principles state policy from Ireland. Like what we need and what are the best suitable things from the for the Indian state, we borrowed such things from the other constitutions. So if we discuss about political liberty means active participation in the administration of the state. According to Lasky, political liberty is the power to be active in the affairs of the state. In short, political liberty is that constitutional liberty in which the people have right to elect their own government. It also including, like we are having right to vote and right to be elected, and means right to hold public office according to one's qualification. There is different types of qualifications are there for the different political positions, from Sarpanch to President of India. There are several different qualifications are mentioned in the Constitution of India. Like what, in every nations there is political liberty to the people. So this political liberty also guaranteed by the state only. It also includes uh, different types of political freedoms. We are having right to vote. With this right to vote, we are participating in democratic politics. So we are electing as our wish. We are electing our leaders, and we are also right to contest in elections from this political liberty. So political liberty is another name to democracy, and these liberties are possible only in democratic state, not in monarchy state or not in ancient times. Only in democratic states, these type of political liberties are available in the modern times. According to Harold J. Lasky, there are two conditions are there necessary for the protection of political liberty. Everybody should get equal opportunities to get education, and also it will create awareness among the people, and they will be able to enjoy their rights and liberties properly. So as we discussed about safeguards of liberty, proper education is must for the to get equal rights and equal liberties from the state. So there is lack of education. Nobody is not aware of these freedoms guaranteed by the state and guaranteed by the constitution. So the press should be free and fair so that the people get right information. Press means media. Media also should be free. There is no restrictions over media. If there is restrictions, or if there is impartiality, if the state or governments um, misuse this media, the proper information should not reach the community, or actual or original information will not get from the media to the people. So the press should be free and fair. So the government should take care of this thing to provide free press, free media, and should use to provide better and original source or original information or real time incidents or real time information to the people. If we discuss about one more aspect of or one more type of liberty is economic liberty. Economic liberty is the base of all the liberties, because in the absence of liberty, man cannot enjoy other liberties. Lenin has said, civil liberty is worthless without economic liberty. Economic liberty means security from property or security from unemployment. Everyone has right to get property or right to get employment. That's what economic liberty means. Security from property, from poverty, and also this liberty frees the man from the exploitation of the master and gives him proper chance to earn his livelihood. According to Lasky, by economic liberty, we mean security and opportunity to find reasonable significance in the earnings of one's daily bread. According to Universal Declaration of Human Rights, economic liberty included the rights given like right to work, right to reasonable wages, right to form trade unions, right to rest and leisure. Professor Lasky includes the right to participate in administration of the factory in the category of economic liberty. Economic liberty implies democracy in industry. So that's what our constitution or many constitutions in the world is providing this kind of rights, means equal work, equal pay, and there is a working hours limit is there in the factories or in any institutions. So right to get pay rights, and they have right to form trade unions or employee unions to get their rights from the management. So if we discuss about Marxist approach, Marxist lay much emphasis on economic liberty in comparison to other liberties because according to them, food comes first and anything else later. So everyone is working for the food. If they get employment, if they get money, they will choose first how to get food. So if we discuss about uh, this economic liberty, there is different types of uh, economic liberty means freedom of contract, association, production, and distribution of goods. Economic liberty is essential for the development of a man. As we discussed, economic without economic liberty, there is no meaning of civil or political liberty. And also there are several different types of liberties also there, but in our syllabus they have not mentioned. If we discuss about the other types of liberties, there are national liberties there, religious liberties there, moral liberties there, but uh, these liberties are all under cover in civil liberties. As we discussed, in Indian Constitution, we are having 6 types of liberties are there. So in that way, religious liberty and moral liberty, individual liberty, all are comes under the civil liberty. So after uh, uh, discussing about these kinds of liberty, we can say that every kind has its own importance, and in the absence of anyone, an individual cannot enjoy his freedom or properly. Therefore, each individual should have economic, political, individual, religious, and civil liberty, etc., in equal proportion of and to enjoy all these liberties. National liberty is essential. Before 1947, there was absence of national liberty with India. Therefore, the people did not have the other forms of liberty. Today, India is free nation, and its citizens enjoy all types of freedom, but all the liberties can be enjoyed within restraints. Means the state is imposing restrictions over these types of liberties. So if we discuss about the relationship between the two freedoms, liberty and equality, we have discussed it later about equality. From there is a relationship between the liberty and equality. If we discuss about this uh, law and in in terms of legal terminology, there is a different types of liberties are providing in every state, but we should know about the relationship between the law and liberty. Liberty and law means they are interrelated. Without law, the governments or states should not provide these types of liberties. That's what we discussed. Judiciary system is main thing for the protection of these types of freedoms from the other institutions or other individuals. So in terms of liberty and equality also, there is a relationship between the liberty and equality, because liberty and equality is the two major concepts of better life of the individuals. If we discuss about the equality, equality also provided by the state only. So that's what liberty in terms of natural liberty or social civil liberty or moral liberty, all the types of liberties and different types of liberties are important for every individuals who are living in the country. So uh, we come to know about the these types of liberty. Every proper environment is essential for the enjoyment of liberty and the eternal vigilance among the people, like governments and state or independent judiciary systems will monitor these types of liberties provided by the state. In democratic governments, there are several non-governmental organizations also there in the protection of human rights or personal liberties. There are many non-governmental organizations or frontline organizations are there for the protection of individual liberties. If the governments or the state violate this kind of human rights or individual liberties, these kind of individual non-governmental organizations or front organizations will focus on the issue and to influence the government to protect the individual human rights or individual liberties as per the constitution. So besides this, whenever the government attacks the liberty of the people, the opposition parties also organize the people and stop the government from doing so. If we discuss about the next topic of equality, we have to know about the meaning of equality, and also in our syllabus we are having different kinds of equality, and in equality what are the discriminations are there, what is the political ideologies to understand the concept of equality in our syllabus. So, as we discussed, liberty and equality both are the important for the better human life in the society. Of all the basic concepts of social, economic, moral, and political philosophy, none is more confusing or baffling than the concept of equality, because of it figures in all other concepts like justice, liberty, rights, property, etc. Equality is the important thing for the these all things. During the last two, please ignore background voices. During the last 1,000 years, many dimensions of equality have been elaborated by Greeks, Stoics, Christian fathers, who separately and collectively stressed on its one or other the subject. Under the impact of liberalism and Marxism, equality acquired an altogether different connotation. Contemporary social movements like feminism, environmentalism are trying to give a new meaning to this subject. So basically, equality is a value and principle essentially modern and progressive. Through the equality has been going on for centuries. For the special feature of modern societies is this type of concept. Equality is also used to measure what is modern, and the whole process of modernization in the form of political egalitarianism. In modern politics or modern political institutions are also constantly subjected to social pressures to expand opportunities equally. So, before we discuss the meaning of equality, we must understand that equality is a relative concept. The demand for equality has always been against the prevailing inequalities of times. If there is inequality, we are fighting for the equality. There are several inequalities are there in present society. If we observe, gender discrimination is there, caste discrimination is there, race discrimination is there. There are many different discriminations are there in society. So that's what all the people who are educated and who are aware of this discrimination to get equality from the constitutions, they are running movements against this uh, uh, discriminations. So the existence of social inequalities probably annulled as human society, and the, according to Aristotle in his book, famous book named Politics, distinguished three social classes and noted the significant difference between citizens and slaves. So both are human beings, but in ancient Greece time, there is treatment of human beings is different by the rulers. So who is rich and educated treated as uh, citizens, and others who are uneducated and poor, and even women also treated as slaves in those Greece times, in the time of 3rd and 4th century. So that's what men and women in terms of rational and civic capacities, there is different treatment is there for the citizens at that time. Uh, uh, at that time, even in India, similarly in our Hindu society also, difference between citizens. So if we discuss about Hindu society, according to the classical texts and society, was divided into four varnas. That's what we call it as Chaturvarna system. In that categories, if we discuss about, there are Brahmins, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudras. So this is the categorization of citizens according to the Hindu society. So all rights and duties were based upon the classification. So during medieval feudalism, or legal privileges were based upon the status of birth. In short, different types of inequalities have been long during the pre uh, 18th and 19th century. So, in fact, all human societies are characterized by some form of social inequalities in terms of class, status, power, and gender. While studying this concept of equality, the contradiction between equality as a general value of modern society and inequality at the practical level as a fact of all human societies must be kept in mind. So as our constitutions are our modern states, in namely they are providing equalities, but in the practical sense, in the practice, there are lot of discriminations or inequalities are going on. There is no equal treatment for men and women. There is no equal treatment in the name of caste, in the name of religion, in the name of race, in the name of profession also. There is many inequalities are there. For example, in India, there are many unequal treatment and inequalities are undergoing on. If we discuss about this kind of equality, equality is important aspect for the better life in the society. Like liberty, equality can also be understood. It's both negative and positive aspects. Ever since the rise of the idea of equality, it has been engaged and dismantling certain privileges, whether they were feudal, social, economic, etc. So, positively, it means the availability of opportunity so that everybody could have equal chance to develop personality. So, in our syllabus, we are having different kinds of equality also there. Before that, we have to know the meaning of equality. So, if we discuss about a definition, according to Harold J. Lasky, means equality as that no man shall be placed in society that he can overreach his neighbor to the extent which constitutes or denial the latter citizenship. So, equality is important, and also it is placed by the constitutions over the world. So according to uh, Brian Turner, in his book Equality, has given a comprehensive meaning of equality relevant to the contemporary world. According to him, the concept of equality should include fundamental equality of persons, equality of opportunity, equality of conditions, where there is an attempt to make the conditions of equal life and equality of outcome of results. So these four essential features have must followed by the states. So the first kind of equality of persons is common to cultural, religious, moral traditions, typically uh, expressed in statements such as all are equal in the eyes of God. Like in our Indian constitution, in the part 3, in the name of fundamental rights, and Article 14 says that all the citizens are all are equal before the law. Means the law is equal for all. There is no partiality. There is no discrimination among the people. From the common man to President of India, law is equal for all. That article says like that. So according to the right to equality, there is equal opportunities for the entire the people who are living in the country. There is no discrimination in employment, in work, in earning, or in living conditions. Everyone has right to lead his life as his own wish. So that's what fundamental rights are providing, better opportunities for the people of India. So if we discuss about the different types of or different dimensions of equality, there are different types of equalities are there. If we discuss about, there are uh, 6 types of different types of equality is there. Number one, legal equality. Number two, civil and social equality. Number three, political equality. Number four, economic equality. And number five, natural equality. And last one is international equality. Legal equality means in when it was fighting against feudal and religious privileges, held that equal distribution of opportunities required merely equal allocation of basic rights of life, liberty, and property. So that's what in our constitution we are having equality before law. That's what equal subject of all classes means. There is no uh, partiality, or there is no discrimination over the class or caste or religion or race or etc. There is equality maintaining by the law. So equal protection of law is also there. It does not mean absolute equality. While the law will not make any distinction between the people, in equal protection means that on grounds of reasonable circumstances, certain discriminations can be made. The law in certain special laws for unequals. So talking about this legal equality, that equality before law does not necessarily mean that the law will treat all alike, but rather it determines that the law will be within the reach of everybody. However, legal equality becomes meaningless in the absence of equal opportunities to get justice. In liberal societies, people need both time and money to have justice to protect their equality. All may possess equal rights, but all do not have an equal power to vindicate those rights. So that's what in Indian society the constitution is providing free legal aid to the poor. If they are unable to engage a advocate with money, the government should provide a government pleader to argue for his case. Like that, the government should focus that thing. So thus any actual practice and operation of the courts are distinct from the rule of law of the land. Inequality still prevails, though it is being steadily diminished by the reforms in their operations. If we discuss about political liberty, political equality, every state is providing political freedom to the citizens who are living in the country. According to Lasky, political equality means the authority which exerts that power must be subject to rules of democratic governments. Simple as the liberal meaning conveys, it is being realized that the principle of political equality is not as simple as the liberal. So, the merit of political equality lies in recognizing the basic truth that men are equal in law. There should be equality amongst them regarding the right to governance. There is also economic equality is there, but so I am concluding the session. Tomorrow we will continue this topic. Thank you for your participation.
మా మ్యూట్ చేయమ్మా చీరల మాట్లాడాలి.
Class is over.
హాయ్ హలో
Hello, is there any political science PDF?
Yes, I have.
Hi guys, if you are in political science group, please add me to now.